Welcome to Reality with Kiki. I'm your host, Kiki, and on this channel, we discuss reality TV, celebrity gossip, and viral topics. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. A link will be in the description box below, and we also have it linked in our bio. All right, so Love and Marriage Huntsville. So this episode starts off with Maurice and Kimmy, and she kind of was just asking him, like, what did you guys do last night? And he wouldn't tell her, but she goes into what happened last night between Destiny and Tiffany. And I do like Kimmy. I really like her on the show. She seems to be like one of the realest people up there, and she's like always is like keeps it real, is straightforward, and I like that about her. But I don't like how she tried to make it seem like Destiny, was just coming out of left field and just doing too much. When it's just like she had a reason to feel that the way that she did. Like, not only did Tiffany slight Destiny at her own party, she did it to you too, Kimmy, at that same place. So I'm not understanding why y'all can't see why she feels some type of way. So then we transition to a sit down between Melody and Destiny. And Mel is just like, do you like Tiffany or don't you? Like, what's going on? I don't understand. And one thing about these sit downs that I don't like is that every time Mel talks to Destiny, she's like telling her everything that she's doing wrong. You're doing this wrong. You acting like this. You acting like that. But every time she has a one on one with Tiffany, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry that that happened. And, you weren't wrong in what you were doing or what she said. And like Destiny said, Tiffany could dish it, but she can't take it. And I agree with that. Like, if you want to be crazy at the mouth, then you need to stand in that. And if somebody comes back at you crazy, they come back at you crazy. You just deal with it. But you don't get to cry about it or act like try to play the victim. But like for Tiffany, I just feel like there is no self awareness. Like some things just don't need to be said. And I would say that even for what she said the previous night. If Marcel wanted Tisha to know that he feels like she's less confident and he didn't like the surprise therapy, then he would not have no problem telling her that. He does not have a problem speaking what's on his mind. And I just like feel like if you are so concerned with their relationship, why do you think that telling her something that she's hearing through the grapevine? If Marceau, she may feel like Marceau is talking to everybody but me. Why do you think her hearing that secondhand information would help their relationship? If anything, it's going to put further strain on it. I don't like how they try to paint Destiny like this aggressive character. Like, just the undertones from what she was saying, like, oh, in Detroit and Atlanta, just like, she just this ghetto hood rat that is like trying to attack her for no reason. And I just feel like she is returning the same energy that Tiffany is giving out, and she don't like that type of response. So next, Tisha is talking to Marcel, and she asks them what they did last night. Of course, he doesn't tell her, and she brings up the fact that there's some pillow talk going on, and Tiffany relayed to her that he doesn't like the fact that she surprised him with therapy. And Marcel, of course, is not comforting or reassuring about how Tisha is feeling about how this information was relayed back to her. And she starts going into how like family is important to her, and he is not participating in enough of the things that they do, like even on vacations with the kids he's not there. So he starts going in and going off about like building generational wealth and how he's working so much and all these different things, and it's just like it's kind of changing the direction of what she was trying to get across to him. But it's also like you're not listening and you're not considering how she's feeling. And it's almost like he is gaslighting her, because he deflects a lot and you start going in about other things that you think are important, and what she thinks is important is really not as important as she's trying to make it, because I'm doing all the hard work, and I don't really think that that's fair. And so from that, Tisha starts questioning herself. Well, am I crazy? Am I asking for too much? And really, she's not. So one thing about it that I've noticed with Tisha, she is easily convinced. Marcel can easily convince her. Her mother can easily convince her. Other people talking easily convinces her. But in the reverse, that ain't happening. Like Marcel is not listening to her. If Marcel don't want to do something, he not gonna do it. If he feel a certain way, he gonna say it, and that's just gonna be that on that. So Tisha goes into how she wants to do a recommitment at a wedding chapel and all these different things, and Marcel's like, I don't want to do that. I'm good on that. And he's like, I want to do something like that in private. I don't want to do it in front of these people because basically their friends are a hot mess, and all these people are getting a divorce, and I don't want that energy around my love circle. So Tisha goes and texts on Lewis and Tiffany, and they start having a conversation. So Tiffany, starts it off like, I'm just trying to make sure that everything is okay, that you're okay, that you weren't offended by yesterday. And Tisha's like, and she pretty much is listening. She's just like, well, I do think that you can work on your timing. And Tiffany agrees, like, oh, yeah, I can't work on my timing. But when she goes to her confessional, she's like, yeah, well, I do agree that I can work on my timing, but I'm hoping that I can be friends with these ladies without them trying to change me. And it's like, it's not about people trying to change you. It's about you having some self awareness. As an adult, that is something that you should know how to do, and you don't. Like, at your big age, you just need to do better. And what I found interesting was the fact that Tisha, how Tiffany and Lewis get down. And yet you still went in that room and you told them, yeah, well, I wanted to have this recommitment ceremony, but Marcel told me no, he's not doing it. He's not feeling it. And Tiffany is steadily trying to convince her to do it. Well, we should just still do it. We should still go. And it's like, how Marcel is, but also like these people are already judging you. They already feel like your husband doesn't love you. So why would you go in there and tell them something like this? And so it's just confirmation for them, because it's like, we're out here to celebrate your 15-year anniversary. Why would your husband not be wanting to have a recommitment ceremony? Why would he not be wanting to recommit to you? This is not making sense, and it sounds like he's not happy. So they all decide to still go to the wedding chapel. I'm not sure for what, but they still go, and they ask who is here to do a recommitment or whatever, and nobody is saying anything. Everybody is looking around, but everyone knows that Tisha is the person that set this up, and that they're there for her and Marcel's 15-year anniversary. So it should be you guys, but nobody's saying anything. And my thing is, like, Tisha should have canceled it. I don't know why you would let anybody else convince you to go ahead with this after he told you that he didn't want to do it. And you, out of everybody, should know your husband. Nobody. So Marcel might not be recommitting to Tisha at that moment, but one thing he does stay committed to is not being forced into anything he doesn't want to do. So Tiffany and Lewis volunteer, even though they've been married for less than a year. And I guess now looking at the group, well, no, Kimmy and Maurice could have done it, but they volunteered So they go up and they do their thing, and then they walk down the aisle with Lewis in his big old suit, and then they're done. So after they walk down the aisle, they come back to sit down, and they still try to convince Marceau to do it. Like, oh, come on, Tisha, she really wants to do this. She set this up for you. And Marceau is just like, nope, nope, nope. He's not budging. He's very stubborn, and it ain't happening. So everybody's still trying to convince, and Melody, under her breath, is talking to Destiny like, this ain't right. Like, he should just go up and do it. And so from across the way, Lewis is like, "What'd you say, Melody? You're right. I agree with you. He should go up there and do it." So to calm the noise, Marceau just gives this general answer, and it's just like, I take my wedding vows seriously. We're not going to do this at this time. We're going to do it at a different time. Blah blah blah. Melody starts going off like, she set this up for you guys. You should just go up there and do it. That ain't right. Blah blah blah. And he just like sitting there with a straight face, like, okay, you talking, but I'm not listening. So it doesn't end up happening. Others are disappointed and they leave. So as they're leaving, Melody walks up to Tisha and it's just like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm okay. But it's just like the whole time we could see the embarrassment on your face, and we could see that like you were hoping, you had a glimmer of hope that Marceau would just like save you in that moment and be there for you and defend you like you defend him, like, and show up for you. But he chose not to. And it's just funny, like, watching the conversation that she's having with Melody, because obviously Melody felt some type of way, even though it wasn't her situation. She felt for Tisha. And it's like Tisha's standing there and she's like trying so hard to not be convinced. Like I said earlier, she's easily convinced, in my opinion. And this is like, she was standing there and the way she was looking is just like, I'm just going to say whatever I think Marceau would say. If Marceau was standing right here, he would be telling me, I shouldn't be listening to other people whose relationships are messed up and I shouldn't let them project into my relationship. So I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to defend him. And it's just like, it's okay to have your own emotions. Like, it just like her reaction just didn't seem natural and it didn't match up with the way that her face was looking. And just like for me, I feel like, right, as my husband, you should have my back. And you should not want me to feel embarrassed. And even with him telling her that he didn't want to do it, I would expect for him to just still go ahead on with it. And like, you could be mad at me later. We could just have a conversation about it later. But in the moment, like, just have my back. Just because like she always defends him and always has his back. But not that there's anything wrong with it. I just feel like, in their marriage, in the roles that they play, it's just pretty much just like, my husband is the leader. He, whatever he says goes, and I'm gonna just go with it. And like, as a result of that, her feelings kind of get put on the back burner. So for their final night, everybody goes out to dinner, and they're sitting around the table, and Maurice is kind of talking about how, like, we're here for you guys' 15th year anniversary, and you guys came to, so on and so forth. So Mel is like, well, unfortunately, you will no longer be able to celebrate with the Holtz. And then Martell jumps in and is like, oh, no, you're going to be able to celebrate because I'm going to get remarried. And it might be to Melody. And Melody is like, please, I am never going back there. You will never get the chance. And she was like, you told me that you hope that I find somebody who's going to break my heart. And Maurice and Marceau is trying to like defend him, like, oh, why he said that? He said that because he wants to feel like he's the best you'll ever get, and he wants to be that husband who is, you only have eyes for him. And it's just like, nobody wants to hear that. They're like, that's every husband's dream. And I'm like, to me, that sounds like a narcissist's dream. And y'all seem like narcissists as a collective, but Martell especially. So they go on about that. And Mel's just like, no, like, why would you say that to somebody? And my thing is just like, y'all are saying these things, but Martell has showed Mel over and over again that he did not want her or cared about what she had, or how she felt, because he's cheated on her multiple times throughout their marriage. And in the most recent time, he had a baby on her. So what is that showing her? Why should you continue to be the apple of her eye when you don't care about how she feels? And I don't condone cheating in the slightest, but it's like, not only are you cheating, but you're doing it unprotected. Like, you could be bringing things back to her. It's just disgusting all around. So then Marcel addresses the group, but he, well, he grabs the attention of the group and then directs his comments to the new people. So he says, if I'm having a conversation, I'm not expecting information to get back to my wife. If I'm having a conversation with the guys, that should never be. And Tiffany tries to jump up and jump in and defend, but Marcel was pretty much like, I'm talking to your husband. Because had he not told you, it would not have gotten back to Tisha. And Lewis is just like, had you been having the conversation with your wife, then this wouldn't even be a problem, and blah, 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 blah. And Marcel was like, no. If I wanted my wife to know, then I would have had that conversation with her. But if I'm telling you something in confidence, it's not on you to go back and tell your wife so that you ensure that it gets to my wife. Because I feel like y'all knew that if Lewis tell Tiffany, Tiffany is definitely going to bring it back to Tisha. And that just seems to be a reoccurring theme with the Whitlows. They pillow talk, and then the information is brought back through the grapevine, and second and third hand information is being passed along. So I'm glad that Marcel called them out, but they just were like, you need to be communicating with your wife. And then Tiffany had the nerve to say in her confessional, well, maybe that's why Tisha and Marcel's marriage is not that great, because they're not communicating. And it's just like, who are you to assess that? And why is that any of your concern? It's not your job to go back and do the communicating for them because you feel like there is a missing link. You're actually making things worse. So that conversation pretty much ends because Lewis is like, if you don't want me to go back and tell my wife, just be upfront with me before you say it. And it's just like, nobody should have to do that. Okay, you just know that there's certain things that you either, one, don't relay, or two, you have that conversation with your wife not to tell it. Because it's like certain people know that, like, maybe they can't have that conversation with their partner. Like I don't want to offend them, or I don't want them to feel bad, so I'm not going to go and tell them directly, or I don't think that this is the right time to tell them. Right? And I'm not saying that you should keep secrets in your marriage, but come on. That's not your place, and it's not your job. If my best friend tells me something in confidence, I'm not running to go tell my man about it. And if my man coming back and telling me something that somebody told him in confidence, I don't feel like it's my job to go and tell that person who they were talking about. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Because if that was done to me in the reverse, like, I'm going to feel some type of way. But you guys let me know what you think about this situation down in the comments below. And I will talk to you next time.